All right, folks, here we go. It's Sunday, and we are banging questions from YouTube. All right, so in the post we're going to cover today, real quick, we've got childhood trauma and special forces success. We've got breathing practices. Oh, man, I done forgot the other one already. What is the other one, man? Oh, music and exercise, okay? So we got a couple, one really deep topic that we're going to cover first, and then we got two kind of soft topics, how to breathe, how to relax, and then music during exercises. Reminder to everybody, man, hit the super chats. If you on YouTube, I'm answering YouTube questions today. This is Sunday afternoon, and it's your questions, my answers, and we're going to rock and roll, man. Pretty simple. That's about it. So shoot, let's get started. All right, childhood trauma, right? Childhood trauma. So we're going to talk a little bit about childhood trauma and kind of all that little spectrum and special forces. Some of the stuff I've seen, some of the stuff I've experienced as a child, some of the stuff that allowed me to do what I did and just kind of be like, okay. So let me make sure I can see the YouTube questions real quick. You know, I always have a problem with YouTube. At some point, we're going to get it working. All right, we good. We live. All right, so I shout out to the guys that asked these three questions. I totally forgot to write your names down, but you know who you are. I appreciate you responding to the post this morning. We're going to cover these topics on fire. Okay, so first of all, childhood trauma. I think it is an incredibly double-edged sword when you talk about childhood trauma and success in SF. And the reason I say that is I had a person ask me, do you have to fight a lot? Do you have to see a lot of trauma, stuff like that to go into special forces? And the answer is no. You can be a clean-cut dude and make it and all of that stuff. It's just the people that I've seen that have excelled in special operations for the most part came out of some hellacious-ass backgrounds, okay? And I think probably the most public figure we have is Shrek. Shrek talks about living in a brothel for 2 years from 12 to 14. He talks about how rough his childhood was. It was him and his brother in the mean streets of Chicago. You can only imagine what he went through as a young person, all right? I know a young man that moved to America from Russia, and he talked about his most happiest times in elementary school is when he found a pencil, because they didn't have enough money to buy pencils, so a lot of times he didn't have a pencil, okay? So childhood trauma shows itself in different ways. You can grow up in a neighborhood that's just absolutely horrendous, okay? I know a young lady that grew up on a street in a major metropolitan area, and all of the females on her street had this wild-ass club in the summer. And she said it had been going on for 20 or 30 years, and it was crazy, and the absolute utmost child trauma, starting at like 6 years old, the most childhood trauma. And she's still massively affected by it this day, right? So here's the kind of thing. We're going to look at this little thing that I genned up on Gemini about childhood trauma and some of the things. For every special operations person that has went through a lot of childhood trauma, my guess is there's 20 people that crashed out, okay? They crashed out. And when I say crashed out, I mean like this is where our women that work the streets come from. This is where our strippers and I'm just going to say it like the porn stars come from. Porn stars, 98% of the porn stars had childhood trauma, okay? So I'm not trying to get you all to think like childhood trauma is a good thing. It's terrible, all right? So for one special operations person, you got 19 souls that are lost, all right? Lost. So I'm not trying to portray like childhood trauma is a good thing. I'm just simply saying that in special forces, it's abundant. Like some studies have said as high as 95%. 95% of the people in special operations have extreme childhood trauma. All right, let's look at why, though. Let's look at the background of the why. Let me make sure you guys can raise your hands in Discord. We're going to answer questions on YouTube. I don't see nobody asking no questions. I'm not sure, but whatever. We'll figure it out. We're going to hit this live, get it done. Okay. Come over here. Hit. Oh, man. What did I do? How did I mess this up, man? Hang on. I done messed it up. All right. Hang on, folks. I apologize. You know me trying to get me to share the screen can be difficult at times. All right. Wait a minute, man. All right, yeah, we good. Okay, here we go. So, executive summary on childhood trauma and SF selection, okay? Widely discussed military lore, scientific reports paint a highly complex picture. This is what I was saying, right? On one hand, it forges physical toughness and adaptations. On the other hand, it crushes people, all right? So, I don't want to say it's a natural selection. It's just, for a lot of people, it's really bad, and for a lot of other people, it's really good. So the data shows that trauma is a dirty fuel. It allows you to succeed where others will quit. Okay? So, unresolved childhood trauma significantly increases the risks of severe PTSD. I would argue that they came in the military with severe PTSD, and now it's just showing itself. Okay? So adversity is fuel phenomenon. Absolutely, man. I can't be beat. I've been through so much. I just know what it looks like. Okay. So familiarity with chaos. It was said on a podcast, a while back. Someone was talking about it. It was absolutely phenomenal. Okay. And he said that the reason special operations guys are always in trouble and things are crazy and getting divorces and having mistresses and doing drugs and all this crazy stuff is because they thrive in chaos. So calm, copacetic, everyday, leave it to beaver life is not what brings them regularity. They need absolute chaos in their lives to be successful. Well, chaos is the key to special operations. All right. The next aspect, hypervigilance and disassociation. So I'm going to tell you guys a story. When I was a sophomore in high school, we were running the streets, man. We were going to parties. We were fighting. We fought a lot, all right? And so we were at this party up at Gravelly Lake, real nice neighborhood, little house. And I was kind of at the door with these two Samoans that I knew, and we were just kind of, chopping it up. And these two dudes from next door came over, man, and they were like, yo, you need to move all these cars or we're going to start blowing cars up. So I was just kind of like, man, look, you don't want none of this heat. Like, the Samoans are here. If they come after you, it's over. I said, why don't y'all just go home? They were drunk, okay? So I was out there, and we heard, probably an M80 went off. And these cats had taped M80s to all of the windshields of the, 5 cars that were parked in their front yard, okay? And the Samoans came running. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with some Samoans in Tacoma, Washington. Hell, Samoans in any part of the country, they are normally really big. They are freakishly strong. I've seen a 13-year-old Samoan do 315 for 4 reps, and he never lifted weights, okay? And so they came running, and I remember one of them yelled, "You done fucked up now." And, man, they commenced to beating these two dudes down. So me and my boy, not going to say his name, was standing right next to me. We just watching. Really, I was just watching, man. And when I say they beat him down, man, so one dude never left the hospital. The other dude got out of the hospital 9 months later. The newspapers were doing a big study on him. But I was just kind of watching, right? It wasn't too traumatic. It was dark. You could see him getting beat up, but you didn't know the damage that was being done. It was just kind of one of those things. So they were both in the street, mildly unconscious, and this dude came out and grabbed them by the back of their pants, and their faces was rubbing on the street as he pulled them and kind of threw them on the side of the street. And so about, 2 or 3 minutes later, the police car showed up, and they pulled in from 2 different directions with all their lights on, man, and there had to be 35 teeth in a pool of blood about the size of maybe 5 by 5. And there was all these teeth. And I was like, oh my God. My homeboy, ran. He kind of ran off. I said, so, when the stuff goes down, it's time to go home. You go home, okay? So we got in the car, we driving home, and my homeboy's like, pull over, pull over. We pull over. He threw up all over the place, okay? I know for a fact that young man didn't have no childhood trauma in his background. I grew up with him. I've known him since first grade. He didn't have no childhood trauma, no ass whoopings, no craziness. Came out of an awesome house, okay? He wasn't about that life, okay? Great athlete, played football, good dude. He just wasn't about that extra life. I'll call it that extra little bit of life. But mind you, at that point, sophomore year of high school, I seen my dad almost kill 2 different sets of people, threatened to cut a dude's head off with a machete out in the woods of Fort Lewis one time. I had seen a lot of violence, all right? Not violence I had been in. Childhood trauma. I had a ton of childhood trauma. Kind of crazy shit. It was what it was, all right? So for me, I was just kind of like, all right, so let it be. All right, prove it drive. So this is one of them ones, hypervigilance and disassociation. My ability to disassociate from the nastiness that we have to do is what it is, all right? Hypervigilance, the ability to see stuff before it's happening, right? You listen to your boy Billy Wall, he talks about that sixth sense. That sixth sense is, I call it the Jedi power, right? I'm able to look and see stuff happen before it's happening, and it's because my brain is processing all this stuff, but what it's not doing is shutting me down, okay? Not shutting me down. All right, prove it drive, right? A ton of childhood trauma is around prove it drive. I can do it. I'll prove you wrong. I can't read and write, but I'm going to graduate from the Naval Academy, all right? Easy, all right? What the data actually shows, higher attrition rates, they weren't really sure what it shows. I can tell you for a fact, it's like 95%. Stability is a true metric, right? Like your ability to remain calm in extremely stressful situations is absolutely crazy. Yeah. Now, remind you, I know a bunch of people jumped in the live. I'm going to tell you, you don't want to experience childhood trauma so you can be a special forces person. It's a side benefit. But like I said earlier, only 1 out of 20 dudes probably makes it out of that childhood trauma. It might be a lot higher than that. I just said 1 to 20. It could be 1 to 50. The other 49 people are drug addicts. They crash out. Some of them dudes are able to survive. But there's a lot of crash outs, right? You don't see a lot of dudes in prison that came from phenomenal backgrounds. There's some, but there's a lot of dudes in prison that came from massive childhood trauma that went the other way instead of going in the military. Okay. Compounding trauma, absolutely. All of us compounding trauma. Functional impairment, absolutely. The inability to do right and wrong and do what needs to be done, right? Transition cliff. Coping mechanisms that make great commandos. Emotional detachment, aggression, and hyperfocus, right? Deeply, damn, they got a big ass word in here. Maldevian, civilian, and family life. Basically, it's saying all of that shit is really hard to have a family, right? It makes it hard to be a functional human being in society, and that's why a lot of us, we struggle in the real world, okay? All right. Childhood trauma does not create special operations success stories on its own. We know that. Basically, you got all this childhood trauma is fuel that allows you to propel yourself in special operations. So, I think we covered the childhood trauma. My guy asked about it. I wish I would have wrote the comment down. But childhood trauma in special operations is real. All right. I had a couple buddies in special operations, and their childhood trauma dwarfed anything I ever experienced, ever. Okay. I knew a dude who grew up at 13,000 feet in a mining cabin, and it snowed in his bedroom. When it snowed outside, it snowed in his bedroom. He said he normally had like a foot drift of snow in his bedroom. And he had like 3 sleeping bags, a couple blankets. Crazy, right? Dude was a savage. To this day, dude has never been married. Life is kind of functionally crazy. He's one of the best people at his job now. All right? Best people in his job. So, childhood trauma. Let's hit them questions. We're going to take some questions on childhood trauma. I'm going to split it up a little bit before I go to the next topic, which will be breathing. That's going to be a quick one. And then the last one is going to be music and exercise, and that's a quick one. So, hey, guys, if you got questions on childhood trauma and special operations, go ahead and pop the questions. You know, obviously, if you're in Discord and you got questions, pop the questions, raise your hand so we can hear the questions. Hey, remind me when you come in here on Discord to raise the volume so that everybody can hear it. Hey, if you want some merch, go get you a Grit Don't Wash Off shirt. Get you a, what's the other one we got, man? We got a couple good ones. We got the LK, and I don't remember what the other one was. I got all three of them, but Jocko Goggins. We're coming out with Zweig 2033. We're gonna get going. All right, let me see. I gotta read, man. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the lesson. 4,000 feet alone kills me. Yeah. 10,000. He was at 13,000 feet, Colorado, man. He said he was at a little mining cabin. His dad was trying to be a miner, man. And he said he lived up there for like 4 years. All right, we ain't got no questions on YouTube. We're going to go on. No questions on childhood trauma. Super chats is open. Headed. We ain't got no questions in Discord on childhood trauma and special operations. We're going to keep it moving. Okay, keep it moving. All right. Next topic. So, music. What's the other topic, man? God, dog, I should have wrote these down, man. What's the other topic we talking about? Breathing. Okay, so someone asked me about breathing when you're in stressful situations, and I thought about it, and we're going to talk about it a little bit before it. So one of the things that I thought was really interesting, I got the opportunity to go to Cleveland Clinic. They have a special forces functional medicine workup that I got to go to. Shout out to Jeff Didier over there in the Green Berets. He's the Green Beret Foundation medical dude. One of my guys from Buds, man, just a banger. Okay, so he got us in there, and one of the things we learned that for the most part, every special operations dude's cortisol level is pegged at 5.7 or higher. It's out of 6. Okay, so I want you to think about that. You could get in a car crash and a normal person's cortisol level would be about 3. They get in a fist fight, it might go up to 4. And special operations as a whole is pegged out at like 5.7 or higher. She said they have seen a number of guys that had 6 cortisol sitting here like this, having a podcast with you guys, and my cortisol level is 6. Okay. Mine was like 5.72, I think. And it was up there. All right. So for us breathing, like it's hard to get my adrenaline to dump. Now I've been on these cortisol blockers. I can, like, every now and then, it'll dump. But for the most part, if I don't take these cortisol blockers, there ain't nothing dumping. I jump out of a plane, my heart rate ain't changing, nothing's happening. And that's where a lot of the elite level dudes, that's where they are. So when you ask me about breathing and trying to calm down, a lot of times you're working the next problem so hard that you're not even really, you're not worried about all that stuff. Like, it's not like in the middle of the fight, you working a problem. So the thing that I thought about was the prior to the fight, right? Prior to the wrestling match, I used to work myself up for 2 hours before the wrestling match. My best friends call me fucking Psycho Jake, right? Not to my face, but they said a lot of times I'll be up in the stands, my hoodie on, and I'll be watching the wrestling, just grinding, right, in my head. But what I found when I got to the SEAL teams was that's not really good for long-term success. I'm taking 2 hours to get ready for a 6-minute match. And what we learned in the SEAL teams was violence of action. How to flip that switch right now and in 10 seconds, just go fire, okay? So I will tell you, I got a video out there I made a while back there's a video out there of a tiger. Ooh, it just hit me, bro. Ooh, I just saw it. So there's a video out there of India. They're riding an elephant, and it's in the high grass, and you see the grass move off to the right, and this big-ass tiger jumps up to the head of the elephant, and rips the training dude's hand all apart. Okay? I can be at 1 million in 5 seconds. Like, that's the one thing I wish I knew when I was younger, is how to flip that switch and go to 1 million instantly. All right? So I just picture that tiger jumping. It just hit me again. Woo-hoo-hoo! Boy, don't come in this door right now. You get the business. Okay? So I just got to picture that, man, and boom, it's on fire, man. I'm ready to go. My shit, all my eyes dilated. Everything's ready. I'm taking in as much information as I can. I'm ready to go. Okay? No different. I had somebody kind of bebopping around my property about 3 months ago. Man, rolled out the house in flip-flops and no clothes on and a vest. And everything was just, I could see everything. Everything was just clear. I didn't have to hit the tiger. That's a natural situation that hit me. Okay? So let's talk about the breathing aspect of it. You got box breathing, right? Deep breath in, go across the top of the box, let it out slow. Deep breath in, let it out slow. Deep breath in. So you're drawing a box. Okay, you take 3 laps around the box, pretty much everything comes back down to normal. All right, box breathing. I was doing a lot of Wim Hof for a while, but Wim Hof was giving me some anxiety. So you could check out Wim Hof. He got a bunch of good breathing exercises. The other one that I use that I think is phenomenal that I got off the internet from your boy is counting backwards from 1,000. It totally can just detach you from anything that's going on. Just start counting backwards from 1,000. 1,000, 999, 998, 997. In 4 numbers, I just totally detached from life. Wasn't thinking about anything else, not this podcast, not anything. Okay? So that's another way to kind of bring yourself down from complete, insanity, bring yourself back to normal. All right. Let's hit the last topic. I apologize to my 3 dudes that brought these topics up. I will do a better job next time of writing your names down so we could cover them in here. The last one is music and exercise. Okay. So I'm going to tell you, I played golf in the 10th grade and had no idea what I was doing. Okay. But I took a wrestler's mentality to golf. And so I spent $109 and I bought the Sony Walkman. For all you old people, you remember that bright, yellowish, greenish Sony Walkman that had the yellow headphone. Man, you couldn't tell me nothing. And I played golf with a Scully and a Pittsburgh Steelers jacket because it was Washington State. It was raining most of the time. And I listened to Eazy-E, okay, straight out of Compton. So I was rolling around the golf course, getting ready to fight everybody with sticks, okay? And so people ask me, I said, what did it do, man? Allow me just to detach, right? So I want everybody to understand, like in the big time, like endurance sports, triathlons, marathons, they don't allow external sound equipment, right? Like you're not allowed to have a Walkman on or earbuds because they've proven it's 15 to 30%, no, 15 to 20 to 15% increase in your athletic performance if you're listening to music, okay? So I recommend everybody train with music. Train with it, right? Because you're going to get more. What's it doing? It's detaching you from all the pain you're in, right? You're thinking about the music. You ain't thinking about running fast. It's also bringing you a lot of calm, okay? It's bringing you calm. Music and exercise, man, there's a reason they play a ton of music in college weight rooms. Like, it brings up your intensity. It brings up your focus. It just gets you juiced, right? There's a reason they don't call it the club for nothing. You go to the club, you get lit, you have a great time, right? Can you imagine going to the club if it ain't had no music? Yeah, I don't think that would work out very well. I don't think that would work out very well. Okay. Some alternative rock, I'm going to tell you, man, we came out to Smoke on the Water. I'm going to tell you this neat little music story, man. So We were in the state playoffs in football in high school. There's only 18 kids on my football team. 24, but we had 600-pound freshmen. They didn't get to play. So we were smashing people, man. Shout out to Mark Whitmire, our quarterback, Marvin Tomervig, Dan Brown, Mark Teagan. We just had some dudes that would just fight you, man, on the football field. And we had some really good skill players, namely Mark Whitmire. We had some dudes, all right? So we played on Friday night. We beat Linden Christian, and we had to go. We were playing the winner of this Castle Rock game. And if you don't know, if you're in Washington State, I don't know how Castle Rock is now, but back in the day, man, Castle Rock was a bunch of, we called them hillbilly-ass loggers. And they were tough, they were big, and they had 2 all-state running backs, Cleet Langdon and this other kid, all right? So Whitmire lived in Tenino, which is the next town up. He lived like 5 miles from Castle Rock. So when we won the game, he said, yo, Castle Rock is playing whoever the next day. Let's go to the game. So we all showed up, like 15 of us in our Charles Wright Letterman's jackets. And we showed up to the Castle Rock game, and we stood on, I don't remember what the other team was, 1989 playoffs in Washington State. But we stood on the other team's sideline like we had field passes, bro. I remember we was standing right in the end zone at the end of their bench, man, just standing there, 15 of us with our Letterman's jackets on. Man, Castle Rock came out to smoke on the water. And when I tell you, dun 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 dun, and then everybody in the stands hit their feet on the thing, said boom boom boom, dun dun, and they came out to that, man. Ever since then, that's been my come out song. Okay, Smoke on the Water. I listen to a lot of country right now because I feel like my mind gets possessed if I listen to a lot of heavy rap. Gangster rap, the 80s. I put on the 80s channel rap, man. In the early 90s, I get a little too angry. So I try to listen to country to keep me a little bit laid back. But lately, I don't really listen. I listen to John Maxwell on my walks. I've been listening to some apocalypse stuff to get some ideas for the Friday Night Apocalypse channel. And then, I listen to John Maxwell, some Gary Vee to see what's going on in the world. And then just kick it, man. When I'm out there, I ain't doing a ton of exercising no more. I'm trying to stay alive, stay functional. I listen to a lot of self-help stuff, man, a lot of leadership stuff. So hopefully that helps in music. All right, let's answer some questions and get up out of here. Doesn't look like we got a lot of people asking questions. If you got any questions in the Discord, go ahead and raise your hands. We'll get to those. Let's answer these questions on YouTube. I saw a couple of them. Absolutely, yeah. So is this why some guys who saw a lot of combat have messed up endocrinological and hormone systems? 100%, man. So when I was at the Cleveland Clinic, she told me, man, your testosterone is going to go to 0, man. Your whole system is messed up. Your endocrinological and hormone system, really, it's your hypothalamus is just trashed. It's been pumping out so much cortisol for so long. You wear it out, man. You break it. So crazy, man, crazy. What else we got? Discman, Panasonic Memorex. Oh, yeah. Best way to deal with wanting to kick coworkers' ass at work for disrespect. Okay, so here's one of my big things, man. And you guys ain't gonna believe this, but I used to be a kick a motherfucker's ass type of dude, man. I'll just whip the shit out of you. I'm a Navy lieutenant. I got a whole bunch of skins on my locker from dudes that try to test me. Okay, so here's what I would tell you, man. This is how I look at confrontation now. I look at confrontation as an opportunity to use my negotiation skills. Okay? Maybe a couple months ago, I had some dude in a parking at the grocery store try to lose his fucking mind, right? And so I started mirroring him. Just, oh, you're mad. Oh, fucker gonna kill you. I said, oh, you gonna kill me, man? What did I do? He was like, dog, you see his whole body just calmed down. He's like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I kind of lost my shit, man. I thought you took my parking spot. And I was like, bro, I didn't even see you, man. I didn't even. So use an opportunity where you want to kick somebody's ass as an opportunity to negotiate with them. All right. You know my negotiation book of choice, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Read that book. Figure out what type of dude you got and what he needs. And then manipulate the shit out of him. Because there's nothing better than having a bad coworker that you manipulating every day that becomes one of your good friends. And in the back of your mind, you're just sitting there like, I got you on a marionette. I'm fucking playing with you. You the little puppet on the end of my marionette. So I would encourage you to get Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference, and then start negotiating with these fools out there, okay? Other thing I'm going to tell you in Texas, you run your mouth if you want to, right? And you end up getting holes poked in your body. I try not to have no confrontations with nobody anymore because guns is coming out quick, okay? And never forget, San Antonio is the place where the Dev Group operator got killed in a bar by a 3-inch pocket knife, ran by a 100-pound Hispanic dude at the bar. Okay, little 100-pound dude at the bar, stabbed him 3 times in his armpit. Operator fell over, had a PJ working on him. He died right there in the bar. San Antonio, Texas. Not good. I ain't fighting nobody. Too old, got too much to lose, man. Unless, of course, you want to take that $1,000 challenge. Because I saw a dude on Friday Night Preppers talking at Met, dog. $1,000 challenge. Okay? Sanctioned. What is it? Street meat? Street beats? Beat streets? Sanctioned fight, bruh. I'm in. $1,000. Calling you out. You think you can come take the man? 54 years old. You think you got him? We're going to live stream that bad boy. Pay-per-view. Okay. All right. That's the end of the topics, man. Let's see what y'all got. What? Somebody already has a bachelor's degree and joins the Army. Do they enter as an officer automatically, or do they need to go through a specific process? Yes. There's a whole process to become an officer in the Army. You're going to go to basic training, and then you're going to go to OCS. Then you're going to go to a iBullet class, like either iBullet or A-Bullet, whatever bullet you're going to. And the process is about 2.5 years to become an officer in the Army. Yes. White girl music hits different. I don't know what white girl music is. Selena Gomez? I don't know shit. I don't know what white girl music is. I don't really know what music is. I know like 3 artists, okay? What's your opinion on people with work capacity but are not fast? Can they be Navy SEALs? If you can't run fast, you cannot be a Navy SEAL. If you can't run a 28-minute 4-mile, you cannot be a Navy SEAL because they're not letting you class up anymore unless you run a 28-20 4-mile. So it's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. I know you said having a wrestling background helps a lot. Well, what about soccer? Soccer is one of the biggest wussy sports in the history of mankind. I don't care if you played at a high level. That's like telling me you played in the NBA. NBA basketball players are soft, butter soft, okay? Soccer, cross-country dudes, and basketball dudes are the 3 softest sports in the history of mankind. You fall down and flop for yellow cards, bro. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. So that's my 2 cents on soccer. All right? Fastest way to get rid of a runny nose, sore throat, some zinc, vitamin C. Okay? Sound is too low. The sound is too low. Man, what is going on? Hello? I'll turn it up a little bit. All right. Is that a little bit better? I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Someone said it, man. Listen, my wife won't let me fight, bro. My wife has thrown the red flag. I came home in 2017, had a big ass black eye, a big ass knot on my head. She told me that's too much. I was only 47 back then, but I came home with some big knots, and she said that was too much. If you fight, man, you're going to get hit now. You're going to get hit. Saw a kid get his lung punctured with a knife. Yep. Taylor Swift. We talking about some Taylor Swift, man. Dog, listen, I don't even know the music I listen to. I just have it on a Pandora channel. Country, Tupac, Scarface, and then somebody else. Hang on. What's up?
What's up, Dad?
You getting a gun?
Yeah.
All right. All right, man. We doing a live right now. You gonna go out there and get some shooting in?
With the pellet gun, yes. Is it
Okay.
really
Hey, make sure you don't shoot no goats, okay?
I know.
All right, man. Have a good day, bro. Hey, man, we had a little distraction. Middle kid came in here. He said he needed a pellet gun, so he go out there and shoot some pellets. All right, back to the music. Don't sleep on soccer. 90 minutes of pure cardio nonstop. Hey, man, listen, I'm just telling you. Show me a soccer player, I'm going to show you somebody soft. All right? If you don't believe me, then I don't know what to tell you. But soccer players are not tough. They don't have no grit. On the grit scale, badminton, badminton, golf, soccer, basketball. Okay, maybe professional card players. Because it reminds you, we talking about real grit. We talking about special operations grit. We're not talking about the grit to stay at a table for 30 hours and one go. I'm not talking about mental toughness. I'm talking about grit. Grit involves sweatiness and sand. Okay. All right. Hockey is a toss-up, man. Hockey is a tough sport, but a lot of the hockey players have troubles running because their legs are bowed from so much lateral movement. Marathons are out. Marathons are hours of cardio. Yeah, don't make you gritty. No question. Spotify with AI. Someone's dad moment. Public Enemy's best. I don't like Public Enemy, man. I don't like Public Enemy. Yeah, soccer players. I don't know, man. Most number of days you went without sleep. 3 days. 3 days in the field. No sleep. But here's my thing. I was an officer. I had to be thinking. So I would try to get me a little cat nap anytime I could because my brain was my asset for my whole team. How can you get your Navy SEAL PDF? So listen up, guys. We got Navy SEAL PDF. Just send me an email. It'll be live. You'll be able to get it on email for the next month. And then April 28th, we rolling out the Navy SEAL, Army Ranger, Special Forces app. It's going to be 2 different apps. It's going to be on fire. Gonna be on fire. Is hunting gritty? Here's the thing with hunting. Hunting is like camping. Sometimes it's gritty and sometimes it's not. But in hunting, you're going to be cold. You're going to have to get up early. And you're going to have to either sit in a stand or you're going to have to stalk. I don't know if I can equate it to super gritty, but it's very good for woodsman skills, which are all gritty. Like, you want a gritty job? Go be a lumberjack. Go roofing. Okay? Those are 2 incredibly gritty jobs. Be a forest fire or a smoke jumper or one of those jobs on the line. Incredibly gritty jobs. Okay? How are you defining grit, brother, as opposed to mental toughness? Okay, so mental toughness, all right, is an F-18 pilot who does a 9-hour sortie in incredibly intense environment. Mentally tough. All right, the ability to do something at a high level for a long period of time. Professional card player sits down and plays cards for 24 hours straight, wins a bunch of money. All right, mentally tough individual. Grit is a function of physical work and uncomfortableness. All right, working on a roof in 120 degrees. That's gritty. Laying concrete on a freeway right out here, 1604, in the middle of the summer in 122 degree weather. From roughly, they start real early, like 6 in the morning to let's say 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock at night. All right, that's a gritty job. The difference between mental toughness and grit: you can have all the mental toughness in the world. If I ask you to go run a mile, you start crying. All right. Yeah. Okay, so listen, man. Dude, now he coming back. He's saying soccer is good cardio. Soccer is phenomenal cardio. Phenomenal. I didn't say you guys couldn't run nowhere. I just said in a street fight, If we at the neighborhood playground and we fixing to have a street fight, all the soccer players are getting picked last. Okay? Last. Hunting is gritty. Yeah, a little bit. But the thing is, like, if you sit in a deer stand for 5 hours and you ain't moving, that's more mental toughness. Now, you out there in the cold, in the rain, and it's wet, then it's mental toughness. You got some grit in there. Okay? Why is it that operators who are openly gay or trans are usually SEALs? I don't know what you're talking about, because if you did your research and you know anything about gays in America, they're roughly 10% of the population. So if you think they're all SEALs, then I don't know what to tell you, because I guarantee you they spread across a whole smattering of everything. So we'll leave it at that. We ain't going to get into it too much so they don't ban our video. Okay, that's a good one, man. Here's a good one. Okay, War of Alliances, 8220. This is a phenomenal question. At universities, I always get into arguments with people in my group projects. How do I deal with this? Women especially try to bust my balls and see if I react, okay? Let me tell you something. Working on group projects in college is very tricky. And here's what I recommend you do. Have everybody take a basic Myers-Briggs test. You could probably do it on Gemini right now. Just ask Myers-Briggs, say, hey, Myers-Briggs, make me a little 100-question test to give me, or Gemini, make me a little 100-question test that I can give to somebody so that I can figure out what kind of Myers-Briggs score they have. And once you get that Myers-Briggs score, you can put that in, and it'll tell you how to react to that, okay? So I'm going to send a shout-out to Tammy. She was in my group at business school. And in the first group meeting, she was wearing me out. She wanted to be in charge. She wanted to do all this stuff. I said, man, this ain't that complicated. You know, we had some beef. And then I said, hey, man, what's your Myers-Briggs? We had took the Myers-Briggs test at the beginning, and everybody knew what their Myers-Briggs score was, and I asked her. She was an engineer. She loved lists. After that, I just gave her a list of lists, and she got everything done, and the group went fine. Okay? So I would encourage you to learn more people. If you're having a problem, then, you know, the problem is probably you got to figure out people. Man, my son just left the door open. Actually, that light ain't too bad. We'll get a little sunshine in here today. All right. Yes, humping a 100-pound deer for 10 miles is gritty. Yes. Like, bro, I didn't say hunting was not gritty. I just said hunting at times cannot be gritty, or it can be really gritty. Let me ask you this. Are you riding on a truck or a four-wheeler to your hunting spot, or are you walking? Right? Like you can make it as gritty as you want. I'm in Texas. Dudes go hunt on property where the animals are fed. I don't know if that's called hunting. I just call it shooting. We're going out here to shoot something that's been here just walking around getting fed from a feeder. Okay? So, all right, let's see what else we got. Body fails for the mind does. Mental toughness can be achieved doing anything. Grit is only learned through doing. Yeah, good thing. Answer that. Stories of people losing their careers or lives. Oh, yeah, absolutely. People losing, absolutely, man. Losing their careers over stupid shit. Okay, I'm going to give you my all-time best, and I'm going to give you my all-time worst. Okay? I had a guy on my SEAL team that had 8 DUIs, okay? Had lost his license, didn't have, it was crazy, okay? They told him if he got one more DUI, they were going to kick him out. He crashed into the gate on a bicycle, completely drunk, coming to work. And he got a DUI on a bicycle for his last DUI with us. And he got kicked out to SEAL teams. Okay? Tragic. All right? I was a young officer. Obviously, I just got to the SEAL teams. It wasn't in my stead. I didn't understand 12-step programs. The real thing, they should have told him he needed to go to 12-step program every day. Okay? He had a drinking problem, and he was unable to control it. Okay? So that was just a bad one. Okay? Here's a tragic one. All right? And all of these in my mind are just like, golly, what are we doing? Okay? So somebody, I'm not going to say where or when, so an E7 and his wife were swinging with this other E7 and his wife. Okay. So they were swinging together, the four of them. And the other guy's wife lost his shit. All four of them were E7s in the military. Crazy. So the other dad proceeded to do bodily harm to his wife, his 3 kids, my chief's wife, and 2 of his 3 kids. And so now my chief had to go home, and he had 1 kid left in his family. Okay? The most tragic story I've ever heard. All right? I thought of one other one. Drugs will get a lot of people, man. So I was in a situation where 2 dudes were doing drugs. 1 dude and 2 females were doing drugs. My dude was also pimping his 2 girls out, and all 3 of them came back with HIV. So, and I'm telling you right now, on a score of 1 to 10, other than the Chief story, these are all like 2s on my scale. But I'm not getting banned on YouTube for telling you 9s and 10 stories that are insane. Okay, but yes, a lot of dudes losing their careers over stuff. Okay. Yep. So this dude lost his career downhill skiing. I'm gonna tell you right now, I got a good friend in Washington State who downhill skis a lot. They were trying to get me to go, and I laughed at them. All downhill skiers get hurt, right? They all get hurt. That's why I ain't messing. You see a girl lose her leg in the downhill, one of our best American skiers? Nah, not doing that. Yeah, 1 a.m. to 5, summertime concrete, folks. Yep. Someone charged with battery in their past, get a moral waiver for 18 extra. Yeah, battery, it just depends, man. It just depends. Hey, hit up Staff Sergeant Shell. He'll get you right. What about the oil field? Oil field, hella gritty. Yes, yes. Oil field, yes. Hard, yes. I'm going to tell you, I had a dude working for me at my last job, at my last company. And you're going to find this hard to believe, okay? So this dude could outwork anybody. I'm talking about 14, 15-hour days. He'd outwork anybody. He said the hardest job he's ever done was asparagus, cutting asparagus in the field. Now, he was throwing watermelons 12 hours a day. So I don't know if you guys seen the watermelons. Google watermelon picking. They throw the watermelons to each other, and then they throw them up to the truck, and the dude puts them away. Okay? Watermelon looked tough. Throwing 15 to 30-pound watermelons for 12, 13 hours a day, I thought that was it. He said, no, asparagus was the toughest job he's ever did. He pretty much done every labor job you've ever seen in your life. Okay? Let's see what Marcus got to ask. If you got questions on YouTube, get your questions up. Women have agendas? Nah, man, women don't have agendas. They just, sometimes they hard to get along with. Shit.
Good morning, sir. I hope this isn't a bad time for
Hey, wait. Hang on. Let me turn your volume up, big dog. Let me turn your volume up because the dude's on YouTube hazing me. Okay, go ahead. What you got?
No problem. Basically, I wanted to ask you, sir. I feel like not too long ago, the environment, it was like peacetime military, as they call it.
Yeah.
People were saying, man, the U.S. don't want to go to war. They don't got money for that stuff. They spent 20 years in Afghanistan. What do you think was like the big the straw that broke the camel's back, where it's like, okay, this is happening? I know we attacked Iran, but like, what was it?
Listen, if you can't, so I read a couple things that make sense to me. Iran was mining Bitcoin for $1,000 a Bitcoin and super financing all their nuclear stuff. Okay, we want to talk about nuclear stuff, but this really came down to Israel was getting really pissed off. So do you know that Iran sponsors Hamas? Like, Hamas is a proxy for Iran. And so Israel's still really pissed about October 7th. All right. Now, there's some rumors that they let it happen so they could be pissed off about it. All right. But my understanding, talking to some people, not saying I know, that Israel was getting ready to drop some nukes on Iran. And they basically said, hey, if you guys don't get involved in this, we're going to finish this off. Okay. And if you I don't know if you've done your research on Iran, but up until 1979, Iran was one of the more progressive Muslim countries. Nah, it wasn't even Muslim. it was one of the most progressive countries in the Middle East. They were practicing Zooism, okay? And women had as many rights as men. And it was a very Western country in the Middle East, all right? So if you ask me, I can't really tell you. I ain't in the presidency chair, right? But I know this. I put money them Epstein files had a play in it, right? You ain't hearing a lot about that no more. You ain't hearing a lot about, all the scandalous stuff that's going on. So whatever the reason, I don't know what the reason is, right? That leads me to somebody else asked this question. We got 1,500 Marines headed that way, or 2,500 Marines. Listen, folks, all that means is a MEU is headed that way. So a MEU is like 3 or 4 ships. They got Marines and helicopters and Harriers, and they're headed that way. That's all that means. Now, the biggest concern is the fact that 8 states' National Guards got mobilized last Monday. That's a bigger concern. Now, what does this mean? Me personally, I think it's all like we got to mobilize and do all this stuff so that Iran thinks us seriously, so that your boy Donald Trump can negotiate with them, figure out what's going on. But Iran has said they're not going to negotiate. Iran's already said they're not negotiating. They said we in war, we're going to figure this out. So I don't know if you saw the other day that they hit Diego Garcia with a missile. Man. So, yeah, they hit Diego Garcia. It's going to get interesting, man. I don't know. I tell everybody I'm the worst war picker in the world, so I don't really prophesize on what's going to happen. I just know it's starting to get a little bit hot around here. So
that makes sense, sir.
Yep.
Thank you for your time. Also, to any kind of poolies, recruits who are thinking, forgive me for saying this, I don't want to miss it. It's going to be over by the time I get through boot. Do you think it's a situation like that, or like, no, don't worry about it. There's enough to go around?
Here's what I'm going to tell you, man. It's hard to chase the war because it's just very unpredictable, right? Yes, so, like, if we go boots on the ground, kinetic in Iran, I don't think we can afford another 10-year war, let alone a 5-year war, right? Here's what I know. We go to war with Iran, in 2 years from now, Republicans is going to lose the election. I don't care who runs again. AOC may be the president in the next elections if we're still at war when the election time comes. I'm just going to say that. So it's going to change pretty quickly. Now, the other part of it is this might be a plan by the elites to bankrupt America and cause a regime change. I'm just happy I live in Texas because Texas will be the Republic of Texas and we'll be okay. So
right.
I ain't know geopolitically, man, the shit gets squirrely because it's hard to tell what's real and what's not.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for your time, and I really appreciate you, sir. Have a great
all good. All right, let me ask the rest of these questions. Listen, man, You talking about they ganging up on you, bruh. Brush up on your damn negotiation skills and take over that group, man. Take over that group. Okay, first of all, I don't even know what you're asking me, man. I don't know what 11.5. I don't know if you're talking about barrels. I don't know what you're talking about, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's not hunting. No question, Jinx. These cats are getting on these ranches, and I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, man, get a roofing job. So ZZZ, Black 1 DC, get a roofing job, bro. You guys want grit? Go get the construction PDF. Go get a construction job for a couple years and see if you even got what it takes, man. Because grit don't wash off. Just remember, okay? Also, can't join wrestling college. Yeah. Just go get a roofing job, bro. Crash into the front gate on a bicycle. Yep, bad. Drunk. Yep, bad. Thoughts on Iran, I just gave them. Best story. I don't know. Best story for what? I got a lot of stories now. Hunting rabbits is probably the easiest. Man, listen. You tell me hunting rabbits is gritty. I'm going to tell you, I ride around on a motorcycle. My dad's father worked at the Washington State Agricultural Facility over there outside of Ording. I rode around on a motorcycle. In 15 minutes, I had 10 dead rabbits with my 22. I go clean rabbits for 45 minutes, and then my mom would cook me rabbits. It was fire. So 15 minutes, 10 rabbits, that ain't very gritty. Okay? Ain't very gritty. Oh, man, listen. A BUI. That's pretty funny. But I'm going to tell you, there's probably 15 dudes a year that get kicked out of the SEAL teams for drugs. Yeah, I told you can get a brandishing a weapon. I don't know. Hit up Staff Sergeant Shield. He'll tell you. Got asthma. Hey, listen. Make sure you take you asthma. Hey, man, you got to run every day, bro. Private. You got to run every day and run the asthma out your lungs. Legally admin, court martial in the system, man. Courts did absolutely horrible things y'all ain't even know. Yep. Hey, man, I remind everybody to write in English. It's now a good time to buy a house. Ooh, man. Ooh. Depends on what market you live in. I'm always going to go with that. I know I've recommended a couple. My dude bought a house in Camp Lejeune. It's crazy, man. The housing market's crazy. I don't know. How many years at a company before applying for the next senior position? Okay, here's what I tell people. If you're at a company and you have to apply for the next position above, you're not doing a good enough job to get that job. You need to be blowing that job out so everybody around you is telling you to apply for that next position. Yeah, Zoroastrianism. Yes, that's what I mean. Absolutely. If you think I can say that word, you are completely betrayal on my reading and writing abilities. Oil field operator alone. Yep, absolutely. What do you think is better option? I don't know. You didn't ask nothing. 700 Marines or infantry. Yep, absolutely. Art of War, Israel, let it happen to you. Absolutely, man. Boiling heat or freezing cold in that oil field. Yep. Combat right now. No. Navy SEALs are not going to combat right now. Nope. Navy SEALs, we got to be in combat for the Navy SEALs to actually go. Just letting you know. Or they'll be there right before, but no. Green Berets, I bet you the Green Berets is over there. I know there's some Army Rangers over there. QRF. So. Cuba. No, I ain't heard nothing. I haven't shit. If we go take Cuba, I don't know, man. I don't know. We start taking Cuba. I don't know, man. Y'all ask a lot of questions. If you haven't seen, like right now, the geopolitical state is as unstable and crazy as it's probably been in the last 40 years. Maybe all the way back to the Cuban Missile Crisis has it been this crazy. Because let's not forget, China's over there fixing to take Taiwan probably in the next 18 months. All right? Yeah, man. Full Ironmans. Are they gritty? Yeah, the work to do full Ironmans is somewhat gritty. Okay? All right, I'm at the end of the questions. 3 years left, doing 30 as a nuclear engineer. Think he passed Master Chief, Sub Bay. Yeah, man. That's a good deal now. Bruh says zooism. How does she want to say Zoroastrianism? Look, man. Construction PDF. Send me an email. I'll email it to you. It's not on the bot, but we'll get it out to you. Adrenaline, breathing, and wrestling. I saw the sports as my way out going to college, so I thought losing made me vomit dozens of times. All right, hey, man, human being, if you ask the breathing question, I covered it at the top, but there's a whole bunch of people doing breathing, man. Whole bunch of people doing phenomenal stuff with breathing. Hope y'all enjoyed this little banger. Pharmacy or nurse? Ooh. I'm going to say nurse. You can make more money as a nurse than a pharmacist. The pharmacist is a little, like, go be a nurse, man. The pharmacist, long hours, money's kind of stuck at the same. Had a few charges, nothing crazy. Hey, man, listen, you guys want to go in the Army, hit up Staff Sergeant Shell, man. Come right over here. He got his own recruiting station right in the channel and Discord, right there. Army recruiting station, basic training and everything. Reach out to Staff Sergeant Shell. He's back from vacation. At school, he's killing it. Life is good, man. What else, man? Anybody going to the fan dance in Wales this year? I don't know about the fan dance, man. I don't know about the fan dance. We talking about Carnival in Toronto? I know about that. All right, folks. Hey, man, as a reminder, go over there, support the channel. Like and subscribe if you haven't. Number 2, go over to Triple Nickel, get you some merch. We'll have to get the 2032 shirt up there. I know I've been saying that. We're working on this app right now. The app will be out, I believe, April 28th. Stand by. It's fire. Reminder, Wednesday night questions, Discord. Friday night, we're on Prepper Series number 3. And it's going to be, what do I need to do to be prepared? We'll probably have 2 prepared. The first one's going to be probably more physically related and training related. And then the second one is going to be like, what do you need materially wise? What do you need to have? And then what do you need to do? I'm just going through these questions one last time, and that's about it. I was going to SFRE tryouts in California. Let's go get on the PDF. You will murder it. Hey, we got a SWIC dude graduating. Shout out to my SWIC dude graduating on Friday. Hey, man, listen, I can't tell you how much success we're having because it's almost unlimited. If you get on the program, you do what we tell you to do, you're going to be successful, man. 95% of the time, you're going to be successful. So you think it's too hard? You think it's too much? Hey, man, go roll your dice in life some other way. We on a success plan for crushing life. And with that, I'll leave y'all with, we build champions for life. It ain't easy, but it sure is fun.